Welcome back to the Katie Gearlds Show, presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union. We're live at Wolfies Grill with the largest view of the game outside of Mackey Arena, and we are joined by the head coach. Katie, congratulations. Good week last week. We were just talking there during the commercial break. It's always fun to come into these after you've picked up a couple of wins.
It's been a minute. So we're going to enjoy this one today, Tim.
Let's talk first about the game against Illinois on Thursday night. Your second time against the Illini this year, and you know, anytime you play a team for a second time, especially if you kind of have your way with them the first time, human nature will tell you, well, this should be pretty easy. But as we found out this year in the Big Ten, there are no easy games. And so I think you were ready. It seemed like they were prepared to play.
Yeah, they were. And, you know, wow, what a start, right? Like 4 turnovers, 2 air balls. I think I was joking with you and Jane during the game. This is some really good basketball right now. And luckily for us, Illinois had turned it over 5 times to start the game too. So, we joked, jokes not funny, but we had 9 points in the third quarter against Wisconsin, 8 in the fourth, and then had 7 in our first quarter against Illinois. So it was only going to get better,
right?
And it did.
Well, you started out 3 for 18 from the field, so there was really only one way to go up. But the question always, when you have a quarter like that, is: are we getting good shots? Is that the situation? And if we are getting good shots, then we assume eventually they'll start to go in.
You hope and you pray.
Yeah.
You tell our kids all the time, trust the work that you put in. From obviously this season, but the summer and, all the years that you play basketball. Just trust the work and make sure we're taking good shots. And, we were able to finally get some to fall. The best part about that game is Abby, Mads, and Cass didn't really have it going, and everybody else stepped up. And that was good to see.
Yeah, everybody's always motivated to win, but when you have a player who is playing against her former team, and that was Janae Terry, she was, I'm sure, extra motivated, and she came up with her second straight 17-rebound performance. And I guess we shouldn't be amazed at this point because we've seen her all season with her versatility, but her ability to rebound from the guard position is such a positive for you.
Good, big, strong body, and it's got good instincts, and when she wants to get in there, she does a good job for us. In the last couple games, she was able to do that, not just so much on the defensive end, but getting us second chances. When we shoot it, we kind of tell our kids y'all, there's a good chance we're gonna miss it. Let's go get it. Let's go give ourselves another chance. And she did that. She did it against Wisconsin. We just didn't find a way to win that game, and then. Against Illinois, she was really special.
You had a balanced attack. Brooke Moore scored 14, but you had several players in that game in double figures. And, again, it was nice to not have to go down to the final possession to win a basketball game.
It was nice. Really, really nice. And, our kids competed. And I think we kind of got some competitive spirit back in us. And, we challenged them before the game. Just have fun. Play with a passion. Play for each other. And, really cool moment before the game with Beth.
Yes.
What that day was, and I know Beth's sister. I hope she's listening. Happy birthday, Paula. Miss you here in Lafayette, but it was really cool because a lot of our kids were playing for Coach Kuchar that
and
night.
For those who are not familiar, it was the pink game with the jerseys were auctioned off afterward to go to the proceeds go to the Purdue Center for Cancer Research. Beth Kuchar, a cancer survivor, so you were able to recognize her pregame, and I think there was some genuine affection shown to her before the game with some of the team. You always worry a little bit about getting overly emotional in that situation.
Yeah, that can easily happen, and just proud of our team and the love that we all share for Coach Kuchar is really, really special.
Then we go to Rutgers, and before we talk about the basketball game, we do have to mention the trip out to Rutgers. They had a wind advisory. I didn't know at the time when we took off. We sure as heck found out when we were landing. They had a wind advisory going on. The steady wind was at 20 to 30 miles an hour, but they were getting gusts up to 50. And I think we caught a couple of those 50s when we were coming in for our landing.
Tim, I think we caught all of those gusts. I am the worst flyer. Thank God the flight attendant was calming me down, and we land, and she's like, "Oh, that was the worst landing I've ever had." And pilot comes out of the cockpit, and that was not fun. No, there was nothing fun about that landing. That was absolutely brutal.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about airplanes and landings, but I know when you start to come in at about 45 degrees, that's usually not a good sign.
His ability to not allow the wing to hit the ground, I have no idea how he did it.
Yeah. I guess the good thing is once we landed, everybody was able to take a deep breath. We had a good meal, and then you got an early game yesterday. I always like those early games on the road. The earlier, the better. Get up, play, and get home.
Yeah, you don't need to sit in your hotel room just thinking about the game. And it was good. You know, just because of the trip was a little rocky, we bypassed our shoot around, got the kids up in the morning, and able to do things in a ballroom. Our GAs did a good job of making a little, makeshift court, so we could go over some things for us. And I thought yesterday, honestly, we played tough. It's been a while since we played tough, and I thought we really showed some toughness.
Well, we're going to talk about that game when we come back. We're coming to you from Wolfies. It is the Katie Gearlds Show presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union, and this is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
So Purdue's 3 key bench players in right now. Ball in the hands of Layden for 3. Bang! Great shot by Layden. But that toughness, that is something that Coach Gearlds wants to see. What a tough screen. What a shot by Abby Ellis. Oh, my goodness. Watch this tough take. Pump puts it up and one. And look at that emotion. Anna Stasieska from Sydney, Australia.
And she stops that 7-0 run for the Boilers, but Brooke Moore firing right back.
Oh, you do not want Brooke Moore to get going. But for the entire game, only 31% from the field. Ellis for 3, that one's short. Oh, but the rebound couldn't get corralled. Terry, she puts her hand down, too small. What a possession right there. Illinois cannot corral the rebound. Janae Terry does to Terry, who's driving hard, trying to find a shot, the fadeaway jumper. What a shot by Terry.
So Katie Gearlds sure glad that Abby Ellis came on board. A great addition for the Boilermakers.
And I bet Katie Gearlds is also happy about that N1 shot from Janae Terry.
Boilermakers going on a run, 6-0 over the last minute and a half, and right there, Janae Terry.
Somehow finds its way to Lopez, over 3 Boilermakers, gets the offensive rebound, can't get the putback. Moore looks to get a screen from Layden. And she's going to drive, puts it up, and one for Brooke Moore.
For this Purdue offense as they now get this lead to double.
As Mackenzie drives strong on Brooke Moore. But Brooke Moore, active hands, able to knock it away. Janae Terry with a nice little spin move right there. Crossover finds Woltman driving, layup, rolls in. Ricky Woltman.
Terrorizing the Fighting Illini, but Brendan, how about this stat? Ricky.
All right, let's check in on Facebook. We have Ed watching in tonight from DeMott, Indiana. Ira, as always, up in Wisconsin. The win, by the way, against Rutgers guaranteed a winning season. And I know as the program gets built, you're going to take one step at a time. And you told me before the season started, I have not had a losing season, and I do not intend to have one this year, and you are not going to have a losing season. There you go.
I mean, yeah, just give all the credit to our kids. You know, our young women have really competed for us.
Let's see who else is here. We've got John from Littlestown, Pennsylvania. Now, he wants to know what it's going to take to make the big dance. Well, if you win 4 in Indianapolis, that'll get you there.
That gets you there, right?
Right. That's the automatic ticket. That's the golden ticket.
Yeah, we have our hands full. Obviously, we've got to finish with 2 wins. And then we've got to win probably 2 games in the Big Ten to get there. There's just some games that probably pushed us off the bubble, but we can't do anything about it now. We have what's in front of us, and right now it's Northwestern.
Lori watching in Remington, Sheila in Remington, and my son's watching tonight, but he's on the other side of the restaurant here. He's down. Actually, both my kids are here tonight watching the show tonight, so it's nice to have them here.
I love it. Family's awesome.
Absolutely.
Good for you, Tim.
And Brienne, as always, I have to ask about Shay, so we're going to ask about Rashea Kyle.
I would say Shay's done for the year, unless a miracle happens. It's just, where the stress fracture is, try to come back in January, still pain. So we've got her back in the scooter thing. It's and whatever it is, but. The most important thing is that we wanted to avoid Shay. We didn't want to have Shay to have surgery in the off season.
Yeah.
Obviously we miss her, right? Like, there's a big post presence for us inside in some points, but we roll with what we have, and no excuses. You know, Ricky and Ava have done a really good job for us.
And I think the other point, it would be really hard for her to come back now, not just from a conditioning standpoint, but you've played basically the bulk of the season without her.
Yeah.
And now to integrate her with a week left in the regular season and in the postseason would be awfully difficult.
Yeah, it'd be tough. But you know, hey, this happens in sports. It's things that, you know, we're not the only team that's dealing with an injury or has dealt with injuries. It happens, and, you know, give somebody else an opportunity. And, you know, it just is. It is what it is.
Alice Learn, watching from upstate New York. If that name sounds familiar, Ava's grandparents are watching us. But she had a great rooting section yesterday at Rutgers.
I think she had like 25 plus people there. And man, are they super proud of Ava? But they should be. I mean, this young woman has just been incredible for us. She, you know, career high, and goes back and, you know, doesn't panic in front of all those people, just plays really, really hard.
And then Joe from Fort Myers, Florida, happy for your success and keep it up. Let's talk about that Rutgers game. It was back and forth. It looked like it was going to be a final possession game. And finally in the fourth quarter, it seemed like you wore them down a little bit mentally, if nothing else. You had a 17-3 run, and you held them basically almost scoreless for about 5 or 6 minutes, and that was the difference in the ball game.
Yeah, we did a really good job defensively in the fourth quarter, but honestly, I thought we guarded really well for most of the game. You know, they had 6 offensive rebounds in the first half and only 1 in the second. So our toughness and discipline on the defensive glass was different in the second half. And honestly, I mean, at one time we had 5 guards on the court, and, you know, Ava's a guard her whole life, and now we put her in the post. You know, the discipline to find a body every time and be tough. And before the game, we talked about our guards having to be our leading rebounders, and I think Madison led us in rebounding.
You know, we've seen different players step up at different times during the year. We mentioned Ava Learn yesterday. She had 12 points on Thursday night, which at that point was her season high, and now she had 13 points yesterday, which was her season high. But it's the energy, too, that she's been giving you off the bench, and we've talked about this the last few weeks. You've got to have production off the bench in a long season.
Yeah, you do. You know, and especially with Shea going out, you know, Ava being able to really come. She had been coming along in practice and just stayed with it, and, you know, it just trusted whatever we were telling her to do. And the best teammate, right? Like, even when she wasn't playing, she was the best teammate on the sideline, the best teammate in practice. Some days if she wasn't there, I'm not so sure anybody would be saying a word, but she just kind of lifts everybody's spirit. And, you know, I think it was at Michigan State, actually. We threw in there for a minute, and she looked pretty good. And then Ricky was really special in the second half, so we didn't have to. But then the next game, I think it was like, whoa, like, this is you know, this is Ava's time. And I remember I told Beth and Michael and Alex, I was like, this kid needs a chance. You know, she's been working her butt off, and she has done everything for us. It's been great.
And then Abby Ellis, I thought, was really special, especially in the second half. 13 points in the second half, and we talked after the game with Beth Kuchar about this. It's amazing that a 5'6" player can score inside as much and as often as she does, and in as many different ways as she does.
Yeah, I think that's just that international style. Her ability to change directions on drives after she picks up the dribble, whether she goes 1-2 and changes directions. Her ability to stay in plays and shot fake and pivot and take different shots. She's added a floater, and that's been pretty good for us down the stretch. She had 3 threes, I think, yesterday. Big time shots for us. But we were struggling, and there in the second quarter, I think she hits a 3 and gets to the free throw line and knocks down all 4 of them. And then the second half, knocked down a lot of big shots for us.
All right, we're going to talk a little bit more about the Rutgers game and more with Katie Gearlds right after this. It's the show presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union, and this is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
In the post, you see the matchup underneath as Waltman takes her time. We think about the different pieces on this team, Rachel, how they have so many transfers and have had to gel to the different styles and different roles they've had to take up, as Layden will knock down the first 3 for the Boilermakers. You'll also notice certainly a small lineup out there for them as well, as Terry picks up her dribble, lobs it inside to Learn. Finds space against the very lanky Singleton down low into Learn, and that will drop in. A good start for the freshman by Layden. Harden with a fake pass. She knocks it down. Very well done by the Purdue guard. The D-Bay on the last bucket. Here is Ellis lining up a 3, and she drains it the third.
It was playing off their post a little bit, so they're sagging in on Brown a little bit, so it makes it harder to get that. We talked about.
Ellis looks off, the defender floats it up, and it rattles. Ellis feeling it and drops it through for three. That is number will misfire. How about Ellis working the boards? Gearlds wants to see her guards get those rebounds.
Yep, she said if our guards don't rebound, and then there she goes. I think it's good they're kind of slowing down and setting up.
Ellis, she'll put up the long two and drain it. She is feeling it early on, but has felt completely comfortable since.
Absolutely. I love that she stayed confident.
Speaking of confidence, Layden knocking down the three, her second today. Layden driving, kicking out to Ellis. 10 on the shot clock for the Boilermakers. Here is that pressure. It's going to lead to a Learn bucket underneath.
I think it's kind of smart right now that Purdue's being so patient.
Learn and one. The patience pays off. Largest lead of the game for the Boilermakers.
Being huge. Patience, pass to the corner, quick dump from Terry, of course, into Learn. Just solid. And getting the and one. Going up.
Welcome back to the Katie Gearlds Show, presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union. We're live at Wolfies Grill with the largest view of the game outside of Mackey Arena. Game time, by the way, is set for both games this week now. The Thursday game at Northwestern, 8 o'clock tip-off Eastern time, so we'll have that one at 7:45. And the time has been set for the Senior Day finale at Mackey. It'll be a 1 o'clock tip, 1 p.m. tip at Mackey on Sunday, so we'll have that one starting at 12:45. How's this for a segue? Speaking of time, ... At the end of the first quarter yesterday, Rutgers had the basketball, and they didn't score. I can't remember if they turned it over or missed a shot. They never reset the shot clock, so you come down thinking you're going to get the final shot of the first quarter, and when the shot clock should be at about 20 or 22, it's at 7. And all of a sudden we all look up and say, why is the shot clock at 7? And Janae Terry has to launch a three-pointer. They stopped the game. What did they tell you when they came over, the officials, if anything?
Nothing that made any sense. Nothing that made any. I mean, I was at half court, and I think I saw it as we were crossing half court. And I mean, I think it said 17 seconds. I was like, whoa, what? You know, and I'm almost shaking hands with Coach from Rutgers on the other. You know, like I don't know how they can't see me. Maybe we've got to wear the Volt green every game on the road, so somebody, because my voice doesn't carry. But he said that he saw it, but then Janae shot it almost immediately. Well, yeah, she had to. It said 1 second.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
how did?
You know,
what I didn't a lot I didn't understand. How three officials cannot see that?
And how can they not see me? Like, a coach should not be on the court. Like, I'm almost at the Rutgers Scarlet Knight logo at half court. How do you miss me too?
Yeah.
I'm not tiny. I mean, I take up a lot of space over there. And yeah, I don't know about that one. And they said because Janae released it, they couldn't go back and change it. So
it just seems odd to me. And I've railed much too much about replays and things we look at. That seemed to be something that was incredibly easy to correct.
You would think so, right? Like that seems like a very correctable error. And after it happens, I mean, I was pretty hot. I just hope and prayed that the camera was not on me, because my mom would not be proud of some of the words that were coming out of my mouth at that moment. So.
I'm sure it was nothing that we couldn't say, right? Yeah. That's the kind of a win that I think can really propel a team both early in the season and late in the season, because it really was a nail-biting back-and-forth game. I don't know how many lead changes we had. And I kept saying throughout the game, it's a game that feels like it's going down to the last possession. Then, all of a sudden in the fourth quarter, what did you see as the difference? What were your kids doing differently in those last 10 minutes?
I think we just made some shots there in the fourth quarter. I think Mads hits 2 threes. One where I think the horn went off when she shot.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
Shouldn't you stop the game?
Yes.
Like
another oddity. All of a sudden when Madison lets go the ball, we hear the buzzer. And I thought for a minute they were going to wipe out the basket and say that it was an inadvertent horn.
Kept playing. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, it worked for us that time, so we'll
there
take
you
it.
Go.
We'll take it, right? But she hits 2 threes. Ava gets an and one.
And I thought that might have been the play of the game.
Yeah, that was. I feel like I was orchestrating that whole play over there, but it was they executed it really well. And
well, I saw you and Beth Kuchar exchange high fives after that one, because that worked perfectly.
Well, we had tried to run it on the other side, and Ava went too early. So then Ava's coming to set the ball screen, and Madison had already thrown it to Janae, and I was like, no, get it back to Madison. Ava, go back. Ava, go back. Ava, go back. Wait. And I'm just like, literally, like, I'm a composer out there. And then I tell Ava, come to set the ball screen. Matt throw it to Janae, Ava slipped. Like, I literally talked
Yep.
him through the whole thing, and it worked, and Ava makes the free throw, and then we jumped in some, when Ava comes in, we can get into our full court pressure and just kind of take some time. And then they missed some shots, and we were able to rebound the basketball.
And I think that before we get to the break, that full court pressure, it's not something because of your numbers you really can't do for 40 minutes. But when you've done it this year, it's been effective a lot.
Yeah, when we get our athletic group out there, it's not fair for us to press when we have Ricky, Janae, and Cass and Mads on the floor with Abby. But when Ava comes in and Jayla's in, and then we can use Cass and Janae or Mads in that back line with their smarts and Jayla and Brooke, Abby up top. But Ava's ability just to chase down the balls and her length, and then Jayla gives us a different dynamic too. But it's been good for us. We've had to use it when we got down, but here lately we've tried to jump into it after made free throws or even after made baskets when Ava comes in, and it's been pretty effective for us.
All right, we're going to give the coach a break. When we come back from the break, we'll be talking to grad assistant Jalen Nice. It's the Katie Gearlds Show presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union. This is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
Everyone will say, yes, I want to be great. Now, day after day, opportunity after opportunity, who makes that decision every time to say yes?
Have a passion for the game of basketball and have a passion for the person fighting next to you. Have a passion for your teammates. Have fun. Not everybody gets an opportunity to play college basketball. There was a time we talk about all the time, there's a time in our lives when this little girl picked up a basketball and fell in love with the game. Find that joy. There's weather, COVID, cancer. There's so many things that happen in our world that are ugly that we need to put all that aside and understand we get a chance to play college basketball. Like, how cool is that? And that's it, right? Like, just having a joy, like to play the game for that little girl who fell in love with basketball a long, long time ago.
It is time for the Pro Boilers feature, where we look at how former Purdue student athletes are doing in their professional sports careers. Pro Boilers is presented by Indiana Kitchen Premium Pork Products. Get to know us at indianakitchen.com. Both our Pro Boilers and Indiana Kitchen are Boilermade. Going to talk about two players because they were the only two players who played last week, and they had differing results. KK Hauser's team in Poland is not real good. They're 3-14 right now. They lost their last game 103-46. KK did have a double-double, but not the way you would expect. You would think her to have points and assists. Instead, 10 points and 11 rebounds for KK Hauser from her point guard spot. On the flip side, Adriana Keys in Romania is playing for the first-place team in her conference. They're 18-1 after a 76-47 win, and Keys had 20 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists in their last outing. So we'll keep track of them. Again, just one more show coming up, and that'll be 2 weeks from tonight right here at Wolfies. Mentioned that we're on the Facebook at Purdue Athletics page, and a couple of folks tuning in for, I think, these next two segments. Lisa Nice, who is the mom of our next guest, and also your former tennis coach, Seth Purley from Salem, Indiana.
Yes,
so,
sir.
Jalen Nice joining us. He is our grad assistant, one of our two grad assistants. We had Carmel Brown on last week, and Jalen is with us today. Originally from Salem, Indiana. For those unfamiliar with the geography in Indiana, where is that in the state?
It's southern Indiana, about 45 minutes north of Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay. And you were a high school, both a tennis player and a basketball player.
Yep, played both tennis and basketball in high school. Started 3 years for the high school team and was a varsity player all 4 years on the tennis team. That was probably was better at tennis.
Well, and Jalen's being modest because he was a 3-time all-conference player in tennis and an all-conference player in 1 year in basketball, where you shot 48% from three-point range as a senior, one of the top shooting percentages in the state.
Yeah, I had a pretty good year. Got a lot of open looks. Had a lot of our point guard was really good. We had a good team. I think we ended up being ranked like 6th in the state for 3A, and it was just really connected team, well coached, and just tried to take advantage and get some open looks.
Was it the same MO that you had in high school as they have here, was shoot it before you turn it over? Are you able to, did you have the green light when you got the basketball?
Yeah, if I was open, I was going to shoot.
All right, there you go.
Yeah.
See, there's nothing wrong. As long as you make them, they're all good.
Yeah.
Then you went off to Anderson, right? Anderson
sir.
College for a year?
Yep, played a year of college ball there. Really enjoyed it. Studied biochemistry there. Made a lot of good connections. Enjoyed the coaching staff. Enjoyed the kids, or my peers. Is just kind of felt like at the end of the year I needed a little change and wanted to prepare for life after basketball.
Right.
Made the decision to come.
So you decided to come to Purdue, but you don't give up basketball entirely because you became a practice player for the women's basketball team. How did that come about?
So I had a friend of a friend that was on the RIP squad, is what it was called, and at that point I really didn't know where I was going to play ball or if it was just going to go to the rec and just keep hooping a little bit. And he goes, you should come just try out for the practice squad. We need some guys. I think they had 3 or 4, and went to try out, made it, and just it was a good time after that.
Now, I had a college roommate who was a biochemistry major, and I know he did a lot of studying and spent a lot of time with his studies. How did you manage to fit in both that and working with the women's basketball team?
A lot of early mornings and a lot of late nights.
There you go. So some things never change, right?
No, no.
So now you have gone. You did that. You graduated with your degree in biochemistry, and now you've decided to stay on as a grad assistant. How did that come about, and what are you doing for a graduate degree?
So my graduate degree is in organizational leadership, looking at managing people in the workplace, just trying to get a little different side of real life. And then, can you repeat the question?
How did you come out about the major and I don't. You know what? I don't remember the question either. So it must not have been that good a question. We've both drawn blanks. You can tell it's late in the season, can't you? We'll figure the question out, and we'll get to more questions when we come back. It is the Katie Gearlds Show presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union, and this is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
There's a lot that comes with playing tough and playing hard.
And Edie flushed it home.
We got to just bring it. We got to bring it. We got to be energetic. The majority of teams are scared of the speed and transition. The defense
That's what happens when you take that risk.
has to pick their poison.
Our fans are our backbone. You know, they give us energy. They get us going. But man, it just means a lot to have people supporting you. You hit adversity, and you know sometimes people give up on you. And man, it's just to be back home and just see everybody still cheering, man. Like I said, Mackey was unbelievable tonight. They were unbelievable against Maryland. I think they won the game for us when we played Maryland. So man, it means everything, you know, just to have that support.
You know, we're clearly biased, but this is I think this is easily the best environment in the country. So having fans here every single night that are sold out and pack the place, it's really unique to play in an environment like this. And bittersweet, we only get one more time to do it next time against Indiana. So just try to cherish those moments and enjoy, you know, the fans while we can.
Welcome back to the Katie Gearlds Show, presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union. We're live at Wolfies Grill with the largest view of the game outside of Mackey Arena. We're talking with Jalen Nice, and I remembered the question that I asked. You know, I'm going to blame it all on that plane ride we had coming in, and I was going to say that you're part of that. You said you slept through that, though.
Yeah, I think being in the presence of the great Tim Newton had me a little starstruck. I forgot the question. So
that is a low bar, sir. That's a low bar. The grad assistant, how did you get into that role?
So actually, I wasn't even really considering it at the beginning of last year. I was focused on trying to be in the biochemistry field, and one day on the golf course, our assistant coach, Coach Kuchar, asked me, she's like, well, have you ever thought about being a GA, or you come to all the practices, you know your stuff. We'd love to have you around if that's something you're interested in. And so I just kept working with the team, got to travel a little bit last year due to the COVID restrictions as a practice player, helped him out as a manager, talked to our GA last year, Aaron Reimer, about his role, and this kind of came about. Coach V was gracious enough to award me the job, and here I am.
So what is your role? Give us an idea on a day-to-day basis. What are you going to do with this basketball team?
Anything Coach Gearlds tells me.
Good answer.
So I do some scouting as far as out-of-bounds plays is concerned. Carmel and I kind of split duties there. I'm in charge of the practice guys, getting them ready before practice. A couple of them came out tonight. Appreciate them. So I work with them. Like, we'll go over offensive and defensive scout before practice, make sure they're in line. We'll talk about personnel before practice. And then sitting at the end of the bench, I make sure Coach Gearlds knows how many timeouts she has, who's in foul trouble, who's not in foul trouble, how many fouls we have to give, and just trying to be there for her and take some pressure off her during games.
I have to tell you, my broadcast partner, Jane Schott, did not know who you were at the start of the season. And she knew you were a grad assistant but didn't know much about you. And she said, I don't know who that guy is, but he knows his stuff. She could tell when you were talking about out-of-bounds play. You've got some sort of tie to her, though, right?
Yeah. My chemistry teacher in high school is actually her brother, John Calhoun. So shout out Mr. Calhoun.
It's a small world.
About, covalent and ionic bonds.
Well, there you go. Of course, and that comes in handy on a 3-on-2 break, right?
Yeah.
All right. So you're going to leave here with an undergraduate degree in biochemistry. You're going to leave with a master's degree, and you're going to go basketball. It sounds like.
Yes, sir. That's the goal. I think basketball is the best sport in the world. I don't think there's anything better than being a part of a team and helping just mold young people into better people, helping lead young women into becoming better women. I'd love to stay on the women's side of things and continue to help grow the game on that side of the world.
You played a year of collegiate basketball. Now you've been on the coaching side. How do you see things differently? Because I'm sure when you're a freshman coming out, you're looking at your coaches as this or this or this. You're on the other side of the fence now. What's it look like?
Yeah, I just try to kind of relay some of my experiences, like that, some things that I've struggled with as a freshman to some of the players. Like when we talk, just try to tell them to keep their head up, stay focused, and just try to give them, some help with life, because life is bigger than basketball, and when people struggle, I think it's important to know that you're not defined by the game, but instead to have fun with it and not make it not your total life, but just try to have some fun with it.
Could you still go out and shoot 48% from three-point range?
I don't know.
I bet you could. Yeah. I will say this about Jalen. Jalen, when we go out on the road, he is a bread collector. It's amazing when we finish with a meal and Jalen kind of scavenges. He gets a box and obviously you look like you could still play. So I don't know where you're storing all this stuff, but you're doing a lot of carbo loading away from the court. I'm amazed at how much you're able to put away and still maintain a fit.
Well, yeah, I just try to stay ready so I don't have to get ready, when I'm called upon. And free food's good food.
Free food is always the best. Yeah, that's never going to change. That's the life lesson learned.
Yes, sir.
Well, you're doing a great job with this program. We're glad to have you here, and now you can relax and sleep for the rest of this flight.
Thank you.
All right, we'll have the head coach back with us. It's the Katie Gearlds Show presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union. This is Boilermaker basketball from Learfield.
So Purdue's 3 key bench players in right now. Ball in the hands of Layden for 3. Bang! Great shot by Layden. But that toughness, that is something that Coach Gearlds wants to see. What a tough screen. What a shot by Abby Ellis. Oh, my goodness. Watch this tough take. Pump puts it up and one. And look at that emotion. Anna Stasieska from Sydney, Australia.
And she stops that 7-0 run for the Boilers, but Brooke Moore firing right back.
Oh, you do not want Brooke Moore to get going. But for the entire game, only 31% from the field. Ellis for 3, that one's short. Oh, but the rebound couldn't get corralled. Terry, she puts her hand down, too small. What a possession right there. Illinois cannot corral the rebound. Janae Terry does to Terry, who's driving hard, trying to find a shot, the fadeaway jumper. What a shot by Terry.
So Katie Gearlds, sure glad that Abby Ellis came on board. A great addition for the Boilermakers.
And I bet Katie Gearlds is also happy about that N1 shot from Janae Terry.
Boilermakers going on a run, 6-0 over the last minute and a half, and right there, Janae Terry.
Somehow finds its way to Lopez, over 3 Boilermakers, gets the offensive rebound, can't get the putback. Moore looks to get a screen from Layden. And she's gonna drive, puts it up, and 1 for Brooke Moore.
For this Purdue offense, as they now get this lead to double.
As McKenzie drives strong on Brooke Moore. But Brooke Moore, active hands, able to knock it away. Janae Terry with a nice little spin move right there. Crossover finds Woltman driving, layup, rolls in. Ricky Woltman.
Terrorizing the Fighting Illini, but Brendan, how about this stat?
We are back at Wolfies in West Lafayette. Head coach Katie Gearlds back with us. I want to have you talk a little bit about both Jalen Nice and Carmel Brown, because as we talked last week, there are so many people around a basketball program, first of all, that you have to manage, but also that are necessary when you have a program that has the stature and the complexity that a women's basketball program at the Division I level has. You need people behind the scenes that do a lot of this work.
Yeah, and honestly, we're really lucky. I'm lucky. You know, what I walked into in terms of staff, and Carmel and Jalen are just, you know, they're the epitome of that. You know, Jalen and Carmel, they you know, it's my job to help young people, right? Like, get ready if this is what they want to do in life. And so we kind of give them some responsibility. They're in charge of going over and teaching our kids baseline out of bounds plays for the other team. Then obviously we talk about how we're going to guard them, but they're in charge of all that stuff. Jalen does a great job next to me on the bench in terms of calling out stuff. He understands and knows how we want to guard it, so his voice carries a little bit different than mine. But always allowing me and making sure I know, you know, how many, if we have a foul to give, to stop a fast break, or if we don't have a foul to give, who to foul in certain situations. And then Carmel, same thing, does a really good job with baseline out of bounds, and you know, a little bit more. Her and Christine work hand in hand, but just 2 really, really important pieces to our basketball team.
By the way, we're watching the Penn State-Michigan State game right now. Penn State leading 77-71 with 23 seconds left. This game potentially could have meaning if Michigan State loses its last 2, and after this they have to play Michigan in their final game. And if you can win your last 2 games, you would become the 7th seed in the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah, we knew. Actually, they play at Michigan, and then they finish with Ohio State at home. So
right.
They've got 2 other games after this
gotcha.
one.
Yep.
But you know, obviously that helps us to get to the 7th seed, but it means nothing if we don't get the job done.
Correct.
At Northwestern.
Correct. And by the way, I did go through today, and you know, we had the whole slew of games canceled when the when the Omicron variant was really spiking. It looks like we're going to have just 6 games that won't be played in the Big Ten this year, and 4 of those games involved Illinois.
Wow. Yeah.
So Michigan, Indiana, Northwestern, and Maryland all had their games against Illinois canceled and not rescheduled. And then Indiana was supposed to play at Rutgers and Michigan State at Northwestern. A couple of those games become pretty important because right now Michigan's at 12-3 and Indiana's at 11-3. And the way I understand it is if Michigan wins their last 2 games, they win the Big Ten championship.
Yeah, it comes down to win percentage. You know, and hats off to the Big Ten and you know, the people who worked so hard rescheduling. I know Megan Kahn, our new vice president, has had a huge hand in, you know, making sure these games get played, and the willingness for coaches to, you know, to go outside the box a little bit, and, you know, just on one day prep or, you know, one day in between. I mean, look at Indiana, Iowa. They played Saturday, and they're getting ready to play again tonight. So just, you know, a really a tough time to be in, but our commitment to our young women has been really special this year.
It's been a wild basketball season, and I have a feeling it's going to be a wild tournament down in Indianapolis as well.
Well, I hope we're there for more than just a night.
I do, too. Our final segment of the Katie Gearlds Show, presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union, is coming up. This is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.
In the post, you see the matchup underneath as Woltman takes her time. We think about the different pieces on this team, Rachel, how they have so many transfers and have had to gel to the different styles and different roles they've had to take up, as Layden will knock down the first three for the Boilermakers. You'll also notice certainly a small lineup out there for them as well, as Terry picks up her dribble, lobs it inside to Learn, finds space against the very lanky Singleton, down low into Learn, and that will drop in. A good start for the freshman by Layden. Harden with a fake pass, she knocks it down. Very well done by the Purdue guard. The D-Bay on the last bucket. Here is Ellis lining up a three, and she drains it the third.
It was playing off their post a little bit, so they're sagging in on Brown a little bit, so it makes it harder to get that. We talked about.
Ellis looks off, the defender floats it up, and it rattles. Ellis feeling it and drops it through for three. That is number will misfire. How about Ellis working the boards? Gearlds wants to see her guards get those rebounds.
Yep, she said if our guards don't rebound, and then there she goes. I think it's good they're kind of slowing down and setting up.
Ellis, she'll put up the long two and drain it. She is feeling it early on, but has felt completely comfortable since.
Absolutely. I love that she stayed confident.
Speaking of confidence, Layden knocking down the three, her second today. Layden driving, kicking out to Ellis. 10 on the shot clock for the Boilermakers. Here is that pressure. It's going to lead to a Learn bucket underneath.
I think it's kind of smart right now that Purdue's being so patient.
Learn and one. The patience pays off. Largest lead of the game for the Boilermakers.
Being huge. Patience, pass to the corner, quick dump from Terry, of course, into Learn. Just solid. And getting the and one, going up strong.
All right, it's over in East Lansing. Penn State has knocked off Michigan State 79-71, so that does allow the Boilermakers, if they can handle their next two games, the opportunity to move up in the conference standings. This week's game plan is presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union, home of the official credit union for Purdue fans. Learn more at purduefed.com. Well, the first step is to take on the Northwestern Wildcats, team that came into Mackey earlier this season and beat you. Veronica Burton, one of the best players in the nation. Probably going to be a first-round draft pick in the WNBA, but they had other players that I thought stepped up when they came in here to Mackey.
Oh, man, they just, oh, gosh, I'm in the office today watching that game, and we missed a lot of open shots to start. They did not. They rebounded it whenever they wanted to. We did not, and I thought there in the second half we just lost some competitive spirit, and yeah, it did not go. We just couldn't get ourselves going on either end of the floor, and Veronica Burton was just incredibly special in the second half. That kid is, wow. She's fun.
And you know she's going to be amped up because it's senior day. She's going to be playing her final game at Welsh Ryan Arena on Thursday night.
Yeah, no matter how much I love that kid, I hope we destroy her senior night. I hope it's awful for her.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's such a special talent. And it's not just her ability she steals, right? She can score it, and she orchestrates everything. She points and they've got a young basketball team, and the way she just puts everybody in spots to be successful is really special to watch.
Then Wisconsin comes in here for senior day. Now, you don't need any added motivation when you're honoring your seniors, but what we saw a couple of weeks ago in the Kohl Center should be all the motivation you need to try to even the score.
Yeah, I really shouldn't have to say anything this week to our basketball team. We have an opportunity to play two teams that beat us here recently, where we didn't think we were, actually any good at all. So shouldn't have to say anything, but the important thing is on Sunday was we make sure we honor those seniors for us that have played for the black and gold. I remember my junior year, we lost to Indiana at home on senior day, and I just remember how painful that was, and the pain I felt for our seniors that they had to not only lose to Indiana but on their senior day. Just want to make sure we take care of our seniors.
And senior day activities will be following the game, so 1 o'clock tip-off, so it's about 3 o'clock or so we'll be honoring those seniors.
Yeah, we do, and so please stay around after the game. It's our last home game. Please come to get to Mackey. This group, they deserve a big crowd that day, and I'm sure we have far exceeded anybody's expectations But I guess the best thing is we don't think we're done yet.
We don't have a show next week, so I want to give a quick look ahead. You've got the Big Ten tournament, which you're going to start playing that on Thursday. So after your game on Sunday, how do you prepare? Because obviously you're going to have fresh legs going into that tournament, hoping to play 4 days in a row. How do you ramp up?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we'll take Monday off, and then Tuesday, Wednesday just be like a normal prep for a Thursday game. Maybe a little bit lighter in terms of, because we'll have played this team, whoever it is, a couple times maybe, if not just once. But we just nothing changes, right? You can't win. You can't play Friday if you don't win Thursday.
Right.
And so our sole focus needs to be Thursday. There's nothing to save. We've got to find a way to win Thursday to have a chance to play Friday.
Well, congratulations on the 2 wins this week. Hopefully come into this last week with a lot of momentum, and we can't wait to see what this team does in the month of March coming ahead.
Thanks, Tim.
All right, the Boilermakers taking on the Northwestern Wildcats to close out the road portion of the schedule. Purdue right now 5-4 on the road, so a win against the Wildcats would clinch a winning season away from home. It's 8 o'clock tip-off Eastern Time, 7:45 on the air for that. And then Senior Day against the Wisconsin Badgers, 1 o'clock tip on Sunday, and we'll have that one starting at 12:45. Again, no show next week because the men will be traveling to Wisconsin, so our final Katie Gearlds show of the week will be 2 weeks from tonight. Our engineer, Wes Scott, our producer, Roger Forsyth, for the head coach, and for Jalen Nice, this is Tim Newton. Thanks for tuning in tonight. This is Boilermaker Basketball from Learfield.